88.7. Our buddy Bobby Mackey. Bobby, how you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm great, Gary.
Man, it's good to see you. And
Great to see you.
I'm excited. I've already played Lucille, and I'll go down swinging. Both of those were hit the charts in the Country Music Weekly.
Yep.
And let's see, Haggard songs hit the charts too, didn't it?
I never had a single on the Haggard song.
Okay.
It was on the I'll Go Down Swinging album, but I'll Go Down Swinging with #1.
And you've got another #1 song.
Yeah, in fact, this week I just got the chart
Tuesday night.
Tuesday the chart came out,
Wow.
and of course you found out about it. And you said, "When you coming over to the station? I got to get you over here to the station." I said, "You're on the air Thursday morning. I'm there."
That's great, man. And I'll share this with the folks out there. When anybody sends me a single or sends me music, I try to get it in the library for the automation immediately, especially the local guys. And Bobby sent me this CD, and I was looking all over the place for this CD. And one of our other jockeys borrowed it to download it. And because most of us now use a computer to do our shows, and I couldn't find it. I was pulling my hair out.
What happened to a turntable and a needle?
Well, look right there beside it.
It's right there.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
You can tell that we're old school radio.
Hey.
That's great.
Oh, that's great. You had it covered up with some papers.
Yeah, we actually have a guy. One of our guys comes in on Monday, Mr. Chuck Holberg. Chuck still brings albums in. He still spins some vinyl.
Yeah.
And we do have turntables, and one of the worst inventions they ever made for a radio guy is a cassette. But we do have a cassette player, and but yeah, it's just more convenient with the CD, and you can take a thumb drive or a passport, a external hard drive, and put millions of songs on it. Where if you try to carry all those CDs in here, you know, and then people call and they want requests, and you have to hunt for them, and so it's the convenient, you know, it's the times.
Well, I got a great collector's item. Goes back to the 78 speed RPMs.
Yeah.
I've got the original Hank Williams, Your Cheating Heart.
Wow.
The original 78 speed record. It's got Your Cheating Heart on one side and Kalijah on the other. 78 speed, and it looks brand new. It's pristine.
I had a guy call in earlier, just before you got here. I had a guy call in, and he was talking about Hero Daddy.
Yeah.
You came out with that, and I told him, I said, well, he cut that twice. He cut it country, and he
I
cut it
got
on
it
his bluegrass.
on the bluegrass CD. Yeah.
And I still gotta say, man, one of my favorite. I don't know why. You know, it's something hits you, something clicks. But my favorite song on the bluegrass CD is at the corner of Walking Knuckle.
Yeah. You know what? I get requests for that at the club.
That's a great song.
I haven't sung it in a while, you know, but
But I'll bet you could.
it translates to country pretty good.
It does. And we're gonna play this next song. And speaking of that, you know, here at WOBO, we try our best to play country music. And some of the stuff, for me, some of the stuff that we're doing now, because of the times changes, is a little too new for me, but it's not like it is today's top 40. And I'll never say that what they're doing it's working and they're making money, and I'm glad for them, I'm proud of them, but at the same token, they need to find a new title or don't title it at all.
You're exactly right.
It's not country music. It's not.
And there's no way to separate it when you say that, oh, we play country music, and people not real familiar, they think that way. No, it's traditional country.
I was on social media the other day. I was on Facebook the other day, and they had a shot at Willie Nelson, and he said when we played country music, we didn't have people jumping out of cars, getting all high and jumping out of cars and stuff. He was making a comment about the new country without trying to not step on anybody's toes.
But for so long, you know, I kept recording stuff and, you know, along the way, and, but there wasn't many places to go with it.
No.
But that's opened up a little bit, and there's a new Music Weekly chart that there are certain stations that have that niche. They'll play a little bit of that new country that kind of fits. It's not maybe so far that way.
Yeah.
They'll play, and they've got people releasing more traditional country, not real hard country, traditional, but
Right.
not our style of bluegrass and country.
Oh.
But they split that blanket. A lot of that stuff don't fit. You know, I saw on the same chart. There's some Florida Georgia line on there, and Blake Shelton I think's got
Right.
something on there. Who else?
Well, you know,
some on the same chart that I'm on.
when some of those folks first came out, they were singing country.
Yeah, Blake Shelton was.
And then they, you know, they got in that, well, your producers and your PR people, you know, they push you, this is what's making money, this is where you're gonna get rich,
Yeah.
and they push you into that.
Yeah, Nashville went to L.A.
Yeah, unlike you know, me and bluegrass, I've made tens of dollars playing bluegrass.
And loved every bit of it, too.
And I had some people tell me, said, well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm in the music business for the money. I was never in the music business for the money. I was in the music business for the women, and I ended up with Suzanne, man. I'm tickled to death. I'm glad where I'm at.
Jackpot, yeah.
But anyway, when I first came back to WOBO and they, you know, they elected me president, I called on one of our buddies because I wanted to do country music on WOBO. I knew there was a need for it, and I called our old buddy Red Jenkins. And I said, Red, if I wanted to do a good country show, where would I start and where would I end? And he said, well, you want to start about 55 or 60. I said, well, wait a minute, there was some good music. He said, yep, but at that time they were calling it hillbilly music, and they really didn't know what to call it. You know, you had Hank Williams and some of the others. He said, but about 1960, he said, started setting in the standards for country music.
Yeah, he was exactly right.
And he said, you have to quit around 70. I was like, really? He said, yeah, that Ralph Emery, he run it. He went pop goes to country. You know how Red was. He was very opinionated.
Yep.
And loved his music. And he was, but he knew country music.
Oh, yeah,
And he knew things so well that he gave Bobby Mackey his first job.
Yeah, sure did. I joined Red Jenkins and the Country Lads in 1970. This year makes 49 years ago.
Wow.
And I showed up. I had been going to some jam sessions around northern Kentucky, and on Sunday there was always a jam session somewhere. That don't happen anymore.
Right.
But there was always a jam session someplace, and I got to going around, and I got known. And I didn't know Red. I'd never met him, but Red was looking for a singer. He had a 4-piece band, needed a singer, and somebody had told him about me, and he looked me up in the phone book and called. I'd never met him, and he said, I got this band and I need a singer. I heard you could sing. Well, you know, I sure do love to, you know. And he said, well, you available this Friday night? And I said, yeah, I think so. So he said, well, we got a gig over at the Apple over in Woodlawn on Chester Road. And I showed up on Friday night there, never knew anybody. Red was the bass player, the band leader. Wendy Hargraves on steel guitar, Clyde Markham on lead guitar, and his name is Steve Worley on drums. And I always say, you know, we shook hands and come out playing music.
You know? There you go. There you go.
Wasn't fighting, they were playing music.
You were playing music. And at that time, you were working on the railroad.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why, you know, I just lucked out. I might have been, you know, not been able to make that gig on the Calla Railroad, but it just lucked out. I was getting laid off right then from the railroad. It slowed down, and I was, because I was, you know, one of the young ones on the extra board, and times had slowed down, and it just lucked out, and it went from there, and I was with Red, you know, several years there.
In 1978.
Yeah, we missed out. You and I talked about 19 what?
1978.
78, that's when I opened the nightclub. I heard that 8 part, I said, no, it was, I'm gonna say it was 78, yeah, that rings a bell.
1978, Bobby Mackey opened the club up and
Whoa,
man.
boy, I didn't have good sense, but.
well, something worked.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. You know, it was either, when I did that, when I got the nightclub, what was in my mind, you know, I played other clubs, you know, over a period of 8 years, from 70 when I got with Red and them guys, and then played 3 different clubs in the Tri-County area. Played at the Apple, went to the Boulevard, and then the Julie's, and then I was either gonna move to Nashville or get a nightclub, because the clubs I played always did well, so
You saw what worked and
I
what
figured,
didn't.
well, you know, some folks, Norman and Gene Stamper kept coming over to the nightclub, over to the Tri-County area where I was playing, and they're from Northern Kentucky.
Right.
They would come over and we got to be friends. They come over about every Saturday night,
Right.
and we got to be friends. And because they found out I actually lived in Northern Kentucky, and they said, "You need to get a nightclub over here. You need to get a club over here. Ain't nothing over here. You need to get a club over here." And okay, well, you know, maybe, but I really wasn't into thinking about it. I was actually thinking about moving to Nashville. When they kept on, and one day, it was in the spring of '78, Norman called me and said, "Hey buddy, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, nothing, Norman, nothing." He said, "Well, can you meet me down here in Wilder, Kentucky? Meet me down here about 1 o'clock. I want to show you something." I go down there, met him, and they opened the door. Beulah, you know Beulah, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
Beulah unlocked the door. She had the key. She had run that place
Right.
For a while, but it was closed down at that time. And Beulah unlocked the door, and I followed her in there and looked at the place, and it was musty and it needed a lot of help. But for some reason, I just had to have that.
Yep.
You know what backed me up on moving to Nashville? What kind of hesitated on that? I thought, well, if I got my own nightclub, I can go down there anytime I want to.
That's right.
So you know, that's how it happened.
And you know, you brought in some top acts back in the day.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you had George there, and
Merle Haggard.
Merle Haggard.
Boy, I'm telling you, we had some big names in there, and a lot of that mainly, you know, I did it even if break even, it was a big promotion thing,
Right.
because everybody talked about it, you
Right.
know, and it really worked.
That's what we do here at the station. We try to, you know, even if we can break even at our outside events,
Get attention.
It gets attention. It gets us out in the public's ear and eye, and does really good. So that brings us up to this point. I want to play this next song, and we're going to hold back the #1 song for just a little bit.
All right.
But you wrote this song, what they call country,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it just tells a story about what we just been talking about.
Yep.
You know, country just ain't country today. And like I said again, it's not that it's not working. They're making money and it's working for them, but it's just not country.
Yeah, well, I wrote the song actually back when there was no place hardly to get a country record played. You know, OBO was about the only place.
Stations like us,
And
you know,
yeah, and I wrote that then, and you know, we went through a period where we were really bitter about it.
yeah,
But now you just have to accept it and go on with the times. And as I said earlier about the station, some stations are coming around and splitting that blanket, which I'm grateful for, because I get a lot of play that.
we'll be right back. Here's Bobby Mackey, what they call country.
So what was your place